Hey YouTube, this is Sam, and I am in the process of recapping our National Relocation Van Lines moving experience, moving nightmare, I should call it. I'm not going to give you background, because I have 2 videos before this with all the background, but so I will pick up where I left off, pretty much. The next part of our story begins July 30th, which was our move day. The movers were supposed to have called us the 29th to confirm what time they were supposed to be there on the 30th, and nobody ever called. The 30th, I woke up at like 6 a.m., not knowing what time they were going to be there. And I'd never heard anything from anybody. And my fiance is in Charlotte, signing away our lives for this house, and it's me and the dog and the snakes up in Pennsylvania waiting for these people. Finally, my fiance gets a call from the foreman of our job, who says that they will be there in 2 hours to our home, which was around noon, which is late for a moving company. In case everybody's not aware, that's pretty late for a moving company. By then, the electricity was not working in the house. Philip had the electricity shut off that day because we thought they were coming that morning, so we had them shut off at noon. So there's no air conditioning. It was 100 degrees that day in Philadelphia. And the movers showed up right at noon, like on the dot. And I remember being really impressed that they were there at noon on the dot. They were driving a Ryder truck. Again, that did not seem weird to me at all. We had talked to Leo Young, about the possibility of them not being able to get the truck back to our neighborhood. Again, we lived in a row home in Philly. The streets are very narrow. And we were really worried that they wouldn't be able to get a sizable truck back there, and Leo had warned us that if they needed to use a shuttle, it was a $350 charge to do so. We did not want to pay an extra $350, so we were really hoping to not have to do that. So the truck that showed up was probably a 26-foot Ryder truck, and again, after knowing what I know now about moving scams, after a lot of research, if your truck does not have the company's name on it, that is a huge red flag. Stop them then and send them away, and eat your deposit, because it is not worth continuing. Movers should look at having their markings on the side of a truck like free advertising. They're driving across country, they're the movers you're going to think of. Why wouldn't they do that? The reason they wouldn't do that is because they're doing illegal shit, and they don't want to get caught. They don't want anybody to know where they're at. So the Ryder truck showed up, and there were 4 guys on the job, Eastern European gentlemen. At least one of them was Russian. They were really nice, really nice guys. 2 of them did not speak English very well, but the other 2 guys were super sweet. The foreman was very nice, and he did not stay there for most of the job. He left to go do other things. But the guys worked really hard, and like I said, it was 100 degrees, and it was crazy. And I gave them water and Powerade and bananas, and I bought one guy a pack of cigarettes, and I was trying to be nice, because they were really working hard. And so initially, like I had told them, they asked me how I wanted things packed, and I told them that most of the furniture, like the snake racks and things, didn't need to be like super wrapped up, because they didn't need it. Our bookshelves didn't need it, because it's furniture that can be beat up, and it's okay. If it gets gouged a little bit, it's not going to hurt anybody. But they furniture padded and taped and bubble wrapped the bejesus out of everything. And at the time, and I told them that they didn't need to do that. I was really clear with them that they didn't need to do that. That I didn't feel we'd moved our furniture so many times and we'd never had any of our furniture get severely damaged. And so I told them they didn't need to do that, and they did it anyway. I figured it was just because they didn't speak English super well and they just knew to do what they needed to do. So they wrapped the bejesus out of my furniture. I'll tell you what, the furniture looked really safe, and I felt good about the fact that the furniture looked really safe. What I did not know at the time was that all of that tape and bubble wrap and like plastic or cling wrap that they used to pack my things was $3.60 a roll, and they used like $400 worth of packing materials without my consent to use any of it. But more on that later. So they took roughly 8 hours to pack all of our things, which I don't know, is kind of insane to me. I've packed my own things, and it's taken me, 3 or 4 hours to pack the whole house into a truck. It seemed weird that it took them 8 hours to do it, and having read other reviews since, it seems like that's a thing that they do. I'm not sure what benefit that has to them, but a lot of people say that it takes them a really, really, really long time to pack the truck. And I was starting to get frustrated. Again, it's 100 degrees in my house, and I'd planned on leaving for North Carolina as soon as they left, because I wanted to get the dog and the snakes and myself down to North Carolina as soon as possible to join up with fiance at the new house. So I was getting really nervous, but they were, doing a fine job packing. They were just packing it all up, taking an inventory list. They put stickers on everything. They were doing really good. Then I was going to check on their progress from the garage, and the foreman told me that they were finishing up and just had a few more things to put in, and that we needed to go discuss the contract. So I said, okay, no problem. Walked into the house and walked upstairs just in time to see the truck drive away from my driveway, and away into the night. Again, at the time I was like, oh, I guess they're finished. Not a big deal. So then I'm standing there in my empty row home, which they have tracked dirt and left lots of trash all over, for me to clean again. With this guy, with this foreman, and me and my dog in my empty house, with all my snakes and this foreman, who whips out the contract and the inventory sheet. He tells me that they used way more space than initially estimated. Now, if you remember back to one of the earlier videos, Leo told us that once they approach the agreed upon, limit, if you will, that they would alert me. They did no such thing at any time. And he said that we used close to 1,900 cubic square feet. And that with the packing materials, again, another $400 in packing materials, our new total was $6,900. Our initial estimate was for $2,400, and our now final price was $6,900. Now, I didn't know what to say. And this is the part where it starts to get really hard to talk about this, because I don't like how helpless this whole situation made me feel. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try really hard not to like tear up on camera because I'm trying to like just do this. But I didn't know what to think. Like, that amount of money is like our life savings together. So I asked him like how, and he was like, well, you know how on the original inventory sheet you listed about 186 items. The total was closer to 400. So I asked him like how it was possible for me to underestimate 2/3 of my belongings, and he said, well, this happens all the time, this is just something that happens. And I asked him how they measure the cubic feet and where was the proof of the cubic feet, and I said that, I hadn't even done a visual examination of the truck. I have no idea how it was packed. I needed proof, and he said that the truck was gone and that the truck would have to come back and they would have to move things off of the truck in order to show me the measurements, and that in order to do that, they would need the full payment in order to take anything off the truck. So essentially all of my belongings were being held hostage for now almost $7,000. And they're going God knows where at this point. Like, the truck is gone. I can't do anything to stop them. I can't pop the tires. There's nothing for me to do. And he hands me the inventory sheet and the contract. Okay, so this is done on like those transfer papers where it's like the top one's white and then there's like pink and yellow, and you get the yellow sheet. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The contract's transfer had come out just fine, and the inventory sheet, on the other hand, had come out really, really light. And I can't read anything on it. I would show it to you, but this camera is so grainy, you're gonna be like, I can't see anything. You wouldn't be able to see anything. It even had writing on it because this camera is so terrible. But you couldn't read anything. Everything was written so lightly. And now I know that was probably done on purpose so they could put whatever they wanted to on the inventory sheet to justify it. So we went through the contract. He told me where to sign, like, rapid fire, and kept saying, like, he needed to get out of there. I don't know. Looking back, like, I don't know what I could have done. I don't know if I could have said no. I sure didn't feel like I could say no, because what was gonna happen then? Like, I had nobody to back me up. And my fiance is gone, and it's just me and him in this empty house, and I didn't know what to do. So I signed. For all of the money I had signed. And then he left, and it was just me knowing that I owed them $7,000. And I cut them, we had cut a cashier's check for 1/3 of the estimate, so another like $1,300 or so that I gave to him up front at the packing. And so he drove away, and I slept for a few hours on my floor and packed up the snakes and the dog and made my way to North Carolina, hoping that I would beat them there. So this is part 3. I'm going to cut it here and go for part 4 since we're already at almost 15 minutes. Yeah, so I will see you on the other side.